Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. We have the latest on Viktor Gyokeres. He's already packed his bags and is ready to fly to London, even without the permission of Sporting CP. That is absolutely crazy. That is a player who is willing to join Arsenal and very tired of this Sporting Lisbon. We will also be talking about Noni Madueke. Fabrizio confirms that a bid from Arsenal will be arriving very soon this week to Chelsea on Noni Madueke. Leandro Trossard's agent is actively looking for deals to take the player away from Arsenal. We talked about this story 2 days ago. It didn't feel real. Martinelli, we have an update from Fabrizio on Al Nassr from Saudi Arabia, and we'll be talking about more of the stories as they come in. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. It's quite a very interesting month for Arsenal because deals are happening, but I think we're going to find ourselves in a conundrum where players like Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli could actually both want to leave us this summer. And what do we do then? We shall be discussing in this video. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let's get into it. Let's start off with that Viktor Gyokeres update. Fabrizio Romano has just given us an update on Viktor Gyokeres, and he said that this is the hottest deal. This is the hottest topic moving around right about now when it comes to Arsenal transfers and Europe as well. Viktor Gyokeres is the biggest story happening. And he says that at the moment, the player is ready to travel to London before a deal is even finalized between Arsenal and Sporting. But basically, Fabrizio said that much of the work has been done. That's why the player can actually fly to London. Much of the work has been finalized. There is one small problem, and that is with the final details of the structure. Sporting and Arsenal have an agreement on the fee. We have an agreement on the fee, and that is going to be 65 million plus 15 million. That is 80 million euros. So the two clubs have an agreement on the fee. The problem is with the final details of the deal. And I want to show you this. I hope I can, because it's been really vividly documented very well that Arsenal and Sporting are just a few inches away from agreeing this deal. So according to Record Portugal, they have said that the details of Arsenal's offer at this moment are Arsenal are offering 65 million euros fixed plus 15 million euros in add-ons. Sporting insists on a 70 million euro guaranteed base, right? At the moment, of the 15 million that Arsenal are offering, 5 are very, very achievable, and of course the others are not achievable as quite. And they're saying that Coventry City retains the right to 15% of the profit that these guys make, that Sporting make, but Sporting Lisbon used a clause that would allow them to reduce that percentage, which they did to reduce Coventry's ratio to just 10%. So we are having a problem here, right? It's not a big problem. I'm not saying the deal is going to be thrown off or why. But what is going on here is that Arsenal and Sporting have failed to agree so far on what the structure is going to be. And I remember I told you this a couple of days ago. And I said, if Arsenal win in terms of the structure of the payment, Sporting are going to win in terms of the fee. And if Arsenal win in terms of the fee, then Sporting are going to win in terms of the structure. So what Sporting is saying is this, right? You're giving us 80 million euros. Can we get 70 million euros in, as fixed? We want fixed. We want guaranteed payments of 70 million euros. And Arsenal is saying, why don't we give you 65 million euros and then the 15 million euros can actually come later? All this happening, Viktor Gyokeres has already packed his bags and he's ready to fly to London. So when you hear that story that Gyokeres is in London, don't be surprised. We are getting multiple reports that Viktor Gyokeres is already on his way to London. He's already done with Portugal. Now, what I think is going on here is it's just a small thing, right? And this is a deal that has progressed very, very quickly. It shows you that Sporting want a quick resolution, and Arsenal want a quick resolution as well. And I don't think that the structure of about 5 million euros is going to block this deal. In fact, Fabrizio said that the player himself has added 2 million on the deal that Arsenal are paying, right? So that tells you everything. He's ready to make that sweet. This is according to the bottom corner who have aggregated this, and I want to show you this as well. And they're saying that Arsenal pushing to sign Viktor Gyokeres this week. Arsenal made an offer of 60 million euros in add-ons. Sporting wants 70 million euros. Fixed negotiations ongoing towards a positive outcome for Arsenal. So I think it's gonna be resolved very quickly. It's gonna be done very quickly. It's just about those fine margins, right? Those little margins. If Arsenal win on the little margins, definitely the deal gets done today. If Sporting win on the final margins, then it means that Arsenal might want to, drag on a little bit. But a compromise certainly is gonna be found on this deal, and here we go, should be coming very, very soon. Now, Fabrizio has said that he understands at the moment Arsenal are set to send in an opening bid for Noni Madueke after an agreement with the player on personal terms. He's told that Madueke has committed to a 5-year deal valid until 2030, already approved by the players' camp. That is Fabrizio on Noni Madueke. Arsenal are set to bid for Noni Madueke this week, and much of the work has been done. All Arsenal have to do at the moment is send in a bid and see if Chelsea are going to be rejecting it or accepting it at the moment. Madueke is a deal that has been, growing very steadily, not very quickly, but very, very steadily. Remember, it was reported last week, like 10 days ago, it was reported that Arsenal had a huge interest in Noni Madueke. And all of us, we were like, okay, Arsenal have a huge interest in Noni Madueke. That is okay. That is all right. And then Fabrizio said, well, they have an interest, but the player is willing to join Arsenal. And we said, okay, that's all right. And then Fabrizio also came out and said, okay, now they've agreed personal terms. And we said, okay. And then Sky Sports German said an opening bid for Noni Madueke is very close. And this has been collaborated by Fabrizio Romano. Guys, it's going to happen. Right? It's going to happen. But for me, I'm not changing my mind. I'm not changing my stance, right? These are two things that Arsenal need to stop doing. One, stop raiding Chelsea for failed projects. That's number one. Number two, let us start upgrading rather than signing players that are on the same level. I think that Martinelli, Madueke, Trossard, those guys are at the same level. If not, Trossard is a much better player, and Martinelli would be a much better player. Unless Arsenal is saying they want to sign Madueke, make a profit by selling Martinelli. So you sell Martinelli for 75 million, and you sign Madueke maybe for 45 million, and you make a profit of 30 million euros. Is it 30? Maybe, right? Unless that's what Arsenal is saying. But if you're telling me that you're eliminating Martinelli, and you're not profit-oriented, and you're not looking to make a profit, and you just think that Madueke is an upgrade to Martinelli, that would be a joke. Because one thing I understand, and one thing I know, is that the Rodrigo deal is so hypothetical. It could become a reality, but it is so hypothetical at the moment. And what do I mean by this, right? What I mean by this, that the Madueke deal is very, very hypothetical. Sorry, the Rodrigo deal is very hypothetical. It's a deal that depends on so many things that Arsenal can't control, right? It's easy for outlets to come out and say, well, Arsenal didn't sign Rodrigo because maybe Madrid felt like they wanted to keep him for an idea, or maybe the players decided to fight for his position. Or such. There are so many conditions, there's so many principles that Arsenal can't control, and all these principles are very important, and they're at play on that deal. So I won't be surprised if Arsenal end up with Madueke as a left winger and right winger. That is not good enough. That is not good enough. But I'm going to say this with absolute certainty. I have seen Arsenal do deals, and I can tell you this, that deal is going to happen. 100% that deal is going to happen. Now, ESPN have just confirmed that there are 3 clubs in the race to sign Rodrigo. Manchester City are in talks with Madrid. Arsenal are in talks with Madrid. And PSG are in talks with Madrid as well. Manchester City frighten me because they've done their business early, and we know they've got a ton of cash. They can sign Rodrigo. PSG can't sign Rodrigo as well, but I would rather he goes to PSG rather than Manchester City. This is my reasoning, and I hope it makes sense, right? I think he goes to PSG, and all of a sudden, they've got a winger crisis. They've got Kvaratskhelia there. They've got Bakola there. They've got Dembele, who now plays as a false nine, kind of number 10, something like that. But he's a winger, we know. And they have got, Warren Zaïre, who also plays wide at times, although he plays in the number 10 as well. And then they've got Desire Doué, right? So when you think about the winger options they've got at the moment, with some players not even getting the game time they want, like Bakola and Zaïre, you add Rodrigo, certainly Bakola has to go, and certainly, maybe you lose Desire Doué. They've just signed him, maybe not, but maybe you lose Desire Doué. And it would be easier for Arsenal to raid PSG for Bakola than it would be for Arsenal to raid Madrid for Rodrigo, because that's it. Now, Rodrigo, according to sources in Brazil still, his priority is to move to the Premier League. So if the club is not in the Premier League, which is PSG, they have little chances. Where would he go? I think, for me, Rodrigo, I think Manchester City. Honestly, I think Manchester City. I think he's a player that looks at himself as a top player, higher player. He would want to go and work under Pep. He would want to go and work under a manager that, is like really top. And also, I think Manchester City have a winger crisis. Like, not a winger crisis in terms of overload, but if they lose Grealish, then they're left with Savinho and Doku and who else? And yeah, so I think City might actually need a winger this summer, and I won't be surprised if City add a winger this summer. So 3 clubs are in the race for Rodrigo. I am not going to speak into this, but let's wait and see what comes out of there. Now, the agent of Leandro Trossard is actively working on a move for his player away from the club, and Fenerbahce are the latest club to actually approach Arsenal. No bid yet, but they're the latest club to approach Arsenal for Leandro Trossard. I think the question that would come to your mind is, Trossard wants to leave? Why? And the question is in my mind is, Trossard wants to leave? Why? Now, the one thing I've seen with Arsenal this summer is there's so many things that are going on in the background. There's a lot of plumbing in the background that we don't know about as fans. And honestly, like, we are not aware of it, okay? So one such situation or scenario that I would say is the departure of Takehiro Tomiyasu and the departure of Thomas Partey. Those two, we thought they were going to stay 100% until boom, bang, all of a sudden they're leaving. And we're like, what? Wait a moment. Like, where are we going? So I think there's a lot of plumbing in the background at Arsenal. And Trossard, if he's leaving, this is not a decision. Nobody's fooling me that this is a decision that was made yesterday. This is a decision that Trossard knew about a long time ago. Remember, his contract was trying to be extended at the same time as Partey's. None of those 2 contracts have actually materialized. And I think that comes down to the fact that Arsenal as a team prefer to keep younger players, to keep a younger profile of a team than, older players. And it's understandable why. But losing Trossard is losing a lot of experience, guys. It's losing a lot of experience. And this is not about even Gabriel Martinelli. It's not about Martinelli. It's about Trossard as an experienced player. This team has lost Partey, Jorginho, and we have lost Tomiyasu, one of the longest serving at the team so far. I think like 3 years or 4 years. Now losing Trossard again with his experience, isn't going an inch too far? I know we have signed players like, if you're noticing it, by the way, Arsenal signing players 26, 27, Zubimendi 26, Christian Nogard 31, Kepa 29 or 30, I think 29, right? Around there, 29 or 30. How else? Gyokerez 27, Eze 27. So we are signing players that have got experience and players that are in their prime. But you've got that experience of a player in their 30s, someone that can talk to others in the dressing room because they are older than them, right? It's as simple as that they're older than them. So I'm concerned about this Leandro Trossard thing. And then Gabriel Martinelli, there's nothing between Al Nassr and Gabriel Martinelli yet, according to Fabrizio Romano. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen with the left wing, honestly. Like, I'm just very confused. I don't know if even Eze is the one that's going to play there, or Eze is coming in as a number 10. I don't know, but what I'm certain of is I don't want another summer to go by without us upgrading on the left wing. That's number one. Number two, I don't want another summer to go by, right, where Arsenal lose a quality player and we don't replace them like we did last summer. We lost Fabio Vieira on loan and we lost Emile Smith-Rowe on loan and we didn't replace them adequately. If Arsenal are sure they can replace Trossard and Martinelli, you can sell. But don't tell me that you're losing Trossard or Martinelli and you're bringing Madueke. That is not an upgrade. It is not an upgrade. See you soon.